Auto Parts. Let's get you back to the garage.
Mail-in rebate, void where prohibited. See store for details.
Newsradio 1070 WKOK presents On the Mark. It's a chance to voice your opinion on the events that affect life in the Susquehanna Valley. Call 1-800-795-9565 or email onthemark@wkok.com. Now, here are your hosts for On the Mark, Than Mitchell and Ben Reichley.
And good morning, everybody. Wow. Kevin got that one right. It is me again today. Sorry about that, but Ben Reichley is back, and we should have a real good conversation. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning. Have you been here 5 days?
I've been here. This will make my 5th day.
You're a weeker.
Kevin said that he's going to pitch a tent outside for me. But anyway, Kevin Herr on the other side there. I just looked in a huge pile of adjectives here. Mark has used them all, so I can't use superlative adjectives. I'm going to have to say, nah, he's pretty darn good over there, and right now quite busy. And, of course, businessman, Republican, and Friday and Monday regular here as a co-host with Mark Lawrence, Ben Reichley.
Good to be here.
It is good to have you.
Have a good week here?
I had a great week. Joe and I were here every day, and we talked about 100 things. On Wednesday, Dr. John Pagana was in, and we had a very interesting kind of a seminar on drug abuse, addiction and so forth. Mm-hmm. Good week. By the way, this is On the Mark, and it's brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company. They're the fine folks down there on 4th Street in Sunbury. North 4th, as a matter of fact, if you get lost. And routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. You can find out a lot about them at www.sunburymotors.com. They invite you to visit the Quick Lane on North 4th Street in Sunbury. They specialize in all types of service on vehicles, state inspections, and nitrogen for tires. Open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And our in-basket, the Lenape Solar in-basket, is open. Email on the mark at WKOK.com. We'll be reading your email, probably, maybe, and we want to. Lenape Solar is the fastest growing solar company in the Valley. Solar power isn't just a good choice, but the best choice. So that's our in-basket, and we have an open line, 1-800-795-9565, and completely open today from now until 10 o'clock. Had a couple of things I was thinking about. Mm-hmm. Number one, I'm wondering about, is it Football Friday? I'm sure you and Kevin have a couple of minutes to talk about what's going on today.
Huge Friday for the Valley. If Kevin's mic's up and he's on.
He's starting to listen.
Is the new, Kevin, what is the official, is it the Valley Trophy or for the game at Shikellamy and Selinsgrove tonight? There's a new, they're playing for a trophy of some sort? River Trophy.
But anyway,
they're something with Valley. Well, it's new, and I haven't done my homework on the trophy part of it yet.
Well, and
it's a fine idea. I just haven't done.
But the question, though, is Tony Bartasconi, the trophy, handing out the trophy to the winning team.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, wouldn't that be appropriate? WKOK's new sportsman, the trophy, handing out the trophy tonight in the Shikellamy Selinsgrove. But no, the new resurgence in the Shikellamy and Selinsgrove rivalry. Where in the last couple of years the teams have pretty much split. I think Shikellamy's won 3, Selinsgrove 2. But tonight Selinsgrove brings a diverse.
It's become more of a rivalry.
Yeah, diverse attack in with their offense and they're healthy this year. Shikellamy's rebuilding and getting better, but you quote-unquote throw the records out and let's see how the guys play.
I was talking to a Selinsgrove graduate last night, a person closer to my age than a kid, and he was just amazed that Selinsgrove beat Mount Carmel by such an amount last week. He said, since I think of Mount Carmel as being such a powerful team, the fact that Selinsgrove beat them was rather surprising.
To a degree, but I will say this, and Kevin, you can jump in on this. In the National Football League, There's a team called the Dallas Cowboys that
I'm familiar with
put
it.
themselves in a situation where they were called America's team. And recently, in the last 20-some years, they've pretty much been about as mediocre or average as you can be. In our area, and this is taking nothing against Mount Carmel, in the beginning of the preseason polls, there's two teams. There's Berwick and Mount Carmel. They're automatically good. They almost get the Dallas Cowboys syndrome on a high school level. This is on a small level around here. So, again, every year you hear this, the Dallas Cowboys might be going to the Super Bowl. It's waned in the last couple of years, but, 5-6 years ago, they were always there. So, Mount Carmel and Berwick, as soon as those names come up, they're automatically good. Mount Carmel's having a tough year. Plus, they lost their quarterback in the first quarter of the game. We'll see how Mount Carmel bounces back against Lewisburg, which is going to be on the Valley tonight. So that's on one of the Sunbury Broadcasting stations. Shikellamy Selinsgrove is going to be a doubleheader. You can listen to Kevin Herr and Coach Dick Hort, or you can swing over to the 107.3 and
Boy,
listen,
you've got a lot
listen
of this
to the
in your
guys there.
head.
So again, you can listen to Pat and Ryan Brandt on the Seals Network, or you can listen to Kevin Herr and Coach Dick Hort on the Shikellamy Brave Network.
So it's going to be a pretty good night of football.
And then Kevin, Milton is, I want to say, it's Milton playing team from...
Found it. Sorry. Rally in the Valley.
Rally in the Valley.
The Rally in the Valley trophy.
Okay.
I thought he was awfully quiet over there. I was the one that opened up Football Friday.
I had
here.
to look at my notes.
Well, we're already past that, though, Kevin, but it's good to know that. But who is Milton playing tonight?
Milton has North Penn on the road in Blossburg.
In Blossburg on WMLP.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough game for Milton. They're gonna have to, and a long road trip makes it even harder.
And there might be snow tonight in Blossburg with the weather conditions.
I don't think so.
Oh, you're from up that way.
I'm from Troy up there. That's about where Blossburg is. It's going to be cold.
So, Kevin, we got Schick and Selinsgrove, where Sunbury Broadcasting has them on both KOK and on Eagle. And then, of course, the Valley is going to feature Lewisburg against Mount Carmel. Lewisburg coming off a big win last week over Montoursville. Went up to Montoursville and came back with a victory for the Green Dragons. And, of course, then Milton North Penn. And the Milton guys do not need visas to get to North Penn, but they might want to take a coat. Fans might want to take one also, or stay at home and listen to the action on WMLP 1380.
Steve Williams, Brett Michaels have the call, but I think I think the most intriguing game of the night as far as where conference standings are, not only Shikellamy and Selinsgrove, big game for both those teams. I think probably bigger for Shikellamy right now to try and get back in the hunt in the conference title race. But in Division II, Danville-Loyalsock. Danville with some injuries, Loyalsock with Datras. Be interesting to see how that matchup goes tonight at Loyalsock.
What is Datras?
That is Kyle Datras, who is a phenomenal, probably one of the best athletes in this area, going to North Carolina on a baseball scholarship, plays football, basketball, baseball, and they're all state. Baseball team.
He excels at whatever he does.
Very good athlete, but I will be on the sidelines for that game in Loyalsock. We'll be doing a TV broadcast for the Comcast cable network up in Williamsport. But that'll be interesting. Of course, now Kevin's going to want text to that game,
I've already got that taken care of.
A good high school, and the weather has turned. The weather has turned, so it will be
more football weather, isn't it?
It will be one of those.
By the way, you mentioned it might be snowing in
Blossburg.
I just checked. I have the Wellsboro weather here on my phone. It's only 54 degrees there right now. I don't think it's much higher than that. It'll get down to maybe 50 tonight, and that'll be close to morning. So it could snow, but it'll be wet snow.
No, and looking at the weather around here, it should be nice tonight. It's just going to be that chill in the air, and it is football season. And I know a big week. I will say this: the NFL news, which is more social news, has taken the oxygen out. But I was traveling through Virginia this week and spent some time early in the week. But the Penn State news is very positive, and for whatever the feelings are happened up there, right, wrong, indifferent initially, and the whole NCAA deal. But you have an organization being Penn State that bucked up. I mean, they stood up to what was facing them, and the school administration, the transition of administration has gotten things where we'll see. It's been positive, and we'll see more in the future. But the football program will now compete for bowl game, compete for championships, and Kevin, I'll say this, maybe you can ask Steve this. I think there's a special place for the team last year because they put them up in the ring, but there's a new group. There's a new 49ers, and it's not out in San Francisco as far as football goes. The 49 players who stayed at Penn State through all this, they should really have a special spot in the Penn State Hall of Fame or just in Penn State football
some
lore.
sort of recognition.
Those 49ers, those 49 guys, one being from Selinsgrove, Ryan Kaiser, really an interesting, yes, it's sports, but a tale and somewhat a life lesson where you persevere, you do the right things do happen, and you do the right things for the right reason.
And sometimes it seems unfair. There were parts of that I thought were and still are unfair. Unfortunately, when people break particular laws, unfairness kind of is a part of that. And I think that this is a start in the right direction. Somebody was talking with some seriousness about reinstating the games, the championships that Joe Paterno had been a part of, and I'm doubting that. What do you think about that?
Those games have no effect on what the legal ramifications happened, and that's true. So I mean, those games took place. Those games, there wasn't illegal players, there wasn't illegal doings from the football, the sports aspect of it. So why would those games even be taken away? I mean, that's
punishment. I think for Paterno's alleged lack of attention to a problem.
Should we punish people who allegedly do things?
I mean, no.
So again, it's
that's a difficult one.
Personally, it makes no sense. The records are the records. They'll be the records. It's the real world records. I mean, those teams played, those teams competed, those teams won and lost. But it's a little trivial to say that the team's records, taking those wins away, and it means that it changes the outcome on the legal side. And the legal side still hasn't been finished up yet. You still got an athletic director, you still got a president of Penn State, throw in the third one there, I'm trying to remember. It's been going on for so long that has not even been in court yet.
Donnie Collins of the Scranton Times-Tribune, we had on the Steve Jones Show Tuesday in the second hour, and he had an interesting point. Basically, and I'm very much paraphrasing here, he was saying something to the effect that Penn State and Coach Paterno specifically and the coaching staff handled this exactly the way they were supposed to handle it according to the way their instructions were written and the way the NCAA suggests that you handle a situation like this. And the football program was punished along with the coach, with Coach Paterno in this particular case, and they were punished for doing it the way that their instructions were told for them to do it.
Yeah, I think that's all open to some argument, though, is it not? Were it in a courtroom, we'd have lawyers on each side arguing different nuances from what you just said.
Well, if the protocol was to do the A, B, C, D, E, F that was done, and now that needs to be changed, that's different than having folks who followed the protocol and then folks who didn't follow the protocol, meaning the administrators who didn't follow it. So when you look at it, but in a court of law, it'll be very interesting seeing what happens after you get Curley, Spaniard, and there's one more mixed in with this. But
it always sounded to me like the Three Stooges. Well, it was Curley, Spaniard, and
well, as
I'm
I've
having
said,
trouble with that myself.
What happens if they're found not guilty? Mm-hmm. Then you've punished several different players, people, a university, a football program, a fan base for something that may have been handled incorrectly.
Yeah, and look at how
but according to the law, wasn't.
Yeah, look how the NCAA has stepped back other investigations, and right now the NCAA is looking to try to be relevant. They're trying to figure a way where they can be relevant, and the ruling on the 5 power conferences in basketball and football, you're seeing the NCAA just so far over its head in the reality of college football, which when you look at college sports, they're far more on the professional side, in the business side of the sport, than they are on the amateur side. I mean, you don't have a couple people in with the little Yale pennants and the fur coats sitting there on a Saturday, up in New Haven waving their flags against Harvard, and then, it goes away. College football, college basketball is big business, and it's far more on the professional side of the business model than it used to be. And the NCAA is finding a way to be relevant.
If you have a comment, we have an open line, 1-800-795-9565. And, of course, the Lenape Solar In-Basket is there on the mark at WKOK.com. And I'd like to call your attention to the webcam. What you do is you go to WKOK on your computer, go to On the Mark on the left-hand side of the page, click that, and down a couple of scrolls, you'll find a black box with a little arrow in the middle. Click the arrow. You'll probably get a commercial from the suppliers of the network. But you'll then see Ben over there with look at the amount of hair Ben has. And what we're going to do while we're contemplating the amount of hair Ben has is take a break here, and we will be right back. We got phone calls coming in. This is WKOK.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
With winter weather just around the corner, contact a qualified service technician to ensure that your propane system is operating safely. Make sure that everyone in your family knows what propane smells like and what to do in the event of a gas leak, including knowing where the gas supply valve is and when and how to safely close it. Call us today to learn more.
Brought to you by the Pennsylvania Propane Gas Association and your local propane service providers. Go Hunt PA to enjoy the outdoors, to be with family and friends, or to put food on the table. Whatever the reason, the Pennsylvania Game Commission invites you to Go Hunt PA. Log on to gohuntpa.org to find information on wildlife, hunting, licensing, and much more. While you're there, subscribe to their email service to get all the latest news, like reminding hunters that waterfowl and dove seasons are open in September. Consult the migratory game bird brochure at gohuntpa.org for details. Go Hunt PA. Visit gohuntpa.org.
Looking for comfortable, cost-effective heat? Look no further than Kohl's Hardware and Eden Pure Heaters. The Eden Pure Gen 4 infrared heater produces clean, economical heat and has no exposed heating elements that can cause a fire, making it safe for use near children and pets.
The Eden Pure Gen 4 heater saves you money. Eden Pure heaters provide heat only where and when it is needed. The Eden Pure's power and portability deliver ultimate comfort, making it warm and cozy from head to toe, anywhere in your home.
The Eden Pure Gen 4 heater comes with a 3-year warranty and is manufactured in North Canton, Ohio.
If you're looking for an efficient, cost-effective, and safe source of heat, visit the knowledgeable professionals at Kohl's Hardware for expert guidance every step of the way.
Eden Pure and Kohl's.
Check out the sale prices in our new circular at KohlsHardware.com and sign up for the exclusive online offers year-round. We're right around the corner, right here in your hometown. Come on home to Kohl's, your home for Eden Pure heaters.
Eden Pure and Kohl's. Kohl's Hardware. Come on home to Kohl's.
Since 1873, it's been the destination for family fun, and it continues this year. It's the Gratz Fair, and from September 14th through the 20th, it'll be the place to go for harness horse racing, the Red Eye Rodeo, entertainment from Marty Haggard and the Kramer Brothers Band, Bill Haley Jr. and the Comets, the always popular Demo Derby, the High School Cavalcade of Bands, and Midway shows. Then there's rides, the fair foods, all for just an $8 admission for those 2 and up, $4 for seniors 60 and up, and $4 for active duty service personnel. Learn more about the Gratz Fair at gratzfair.net.
Penn State Rutgers coming up tomorrow. John Bacon will join us on the show to talk about the reduction in sanctions for Penn State. 3 to 5 News Radio 1070 WKOK.
From yesterday, Kevin?
No, that would be Whitney Houston's version of the national anthem for the 200th anniversary this weekend.
94 Super Bowl, Tampa?
91, I believe. Yeah, 91. 91, because that was Gulf War.
Okay, this program, On the Mark, is brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company, and we have on the phone Tony from Shamokin. Hi, Tony. How are you this morning? Hello, Tony. Are you there?
Man, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Yep.
Yeah. Man, what did you refer to Curly, Schultz, and Spanier as? The Three Stooges?
No, I just, not at all. I was not making that judgment. I just always trying to remember their names. I think of Curly, Moe,
Schultz.
and Shemp. And it is Curly,
Schultz. Yeah,
Schultz and Spanier. Yeah. No, that was just my, what is that called? Remembering things by association.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was liberal name calling, but
no, I have no opinion on these guys.
See, the funny thing about that is that their trials did not happen yet.
No.
There's a good reason for that. There's nothing there. Now, they're all involved with victim number 2, the so-called shower incident, correct?
That's my understanding.
Right. And that's where Jerry Sandusky was found not guilty by a jury of his peers. Maybe they did do the right thing.
Maybe they did, yeah.
Victim number 2 of the shower incident, he stated in a letter to the editor, which is published in the Center Daily Times, that nothing happened.
Okay, this is for the court. I don't know, Tony.
Yeah, it is for the court, but it hasn't come to trial yet. Now, Joe Paterno was drawn, quartered, crucified. For what?
Well,
people jumped on the bandwagon right off the bat, and they crucified Joe for no reason at all.
Well, this is all still in, litigation, I guess we would say. And that's where we're going to find out when the facts all come out, Tony.
Joe Paterno isn't in litigation. Joe Paterno's dead.
Well, that's very true, but I mean the rest of the incidences, boy, that's hard to say.
The crisis management team at Penn State was non-existent, and Penn State got caught with not...
They didn't get caught doing anything.
No.
The first incident happened at Central Mountain High School, not Penn State.
Well,
the
Clinton
second
County.
incident was in a shower, and that's where Sandusky was found not guilty.
Yeah, no, but Penn State was guilty of is not having a crisis management program to deal when this happens. You have risk management for businesses and different, where you have insurance and you have different programs that will fit in. Once the crisis hits, then how do you manage a crisis? And it was just it was handled
for
very
not having
poorly.
a crisis management program, they seem to do a pretty good job.
No, they didn't at all. That's
where didn't they? Second incident, they reported it up the chain.
No, Tony. Crisis management happens after this broke. That whole week going up to the Nebraska game, it was.
Ben's talking about what happened after the story
fact
came
and
out.
how they handled the story.
You're talking about the media pressure.
Well, he's talking about after the
story broke.
Right, after the story broke.
Nobody was in charge. Everybody was it seemed to be pointing fingers. There was the legal aspect. Then there were, from a standpoint with Penn State as a university, then there was the athletic aspect as Penn State as a football team. There was the different county aspects, which you had situations in Center County and in Clinton County, and the mother in Clinton County is the one who brought this out, and she should have. And her point was she was going to the media. So, but then everything got combined, and the most visual part of this was the Penn State football team, and that's where
the media driven.
Yes, and then that's where the breakdown happened, and it was never defined. And then you had Spaniards stepping down. The whole thing was just a roller coaster of mishandling. And when things get mishandled, then rumors become quasi-facts. Facts that aren't backed up then become concrete, and then you have the whole snowball rolling down the hill, and it's not getting any smaller.
Hey, thank you very much, Tony. Appreciate your. Whoa, what happened? We just lost.
No, I'm here, Sam.
I tried to hang up.
You did hang up on me, but I
tried
didn't hang up.
And it didn't work, Cindy. Good
Sorry,
morning.
You can't get rid of me that easily, Sam.
I hope not. What's up?
I wanted to provide some illumination. First, I agree with Tony. Number one, Joe was crucified. That is the correct word, socially crucified. He was never charged with a crime by the state or the local municipalities with regards to this situation. Only society, only based on what I believe was a lot of misrepresentation, misreporting, and hyperbole, excessive exaggeration. So as someone who has been and remains a mandated reporter of child abuse, let me say that at the time this incident occurred, and all of these incidents occurred, the law said that if you are a mandated reporter, you must call Childline. That's a phone number. You call it and you
Cindy,
make a report.
We're going to have to let you go and bring you back afterward. Would you call us back, please?
I'll call back. Bye.
Okay, thanks a lot. And this is WKOK on the mark, and we are going to be here till 10 o'clock. We have the news coming up right now, and this is WKOK in Sunbury, Pennsylvania.
CBS News, I'm Frank Seditani. It could have been a lot worse for Oscar Pistorius, but the verdict that was handed down a few hours ago is bad enough.
He's found guilty of culpable homicide.
The South African Paralympian is facing years in prison for shooting his girlfriend to death in what he said was a case of mistaken identity. But the length of his sentence, which the judge will announce a month from now, is not set in stone. CBS News senior legal analyst Andrew Cohen.
Even though the maximum may be 15 years, I think it's unlikely he's going to get anywhere close to that.
CBS's Deborah Potta tells us Pistorius was uncharacteristically calm as the verdict was announced.
Today he was a lot less emotional than he's been previously. Yesterday, for example, he broke down in tears when it became evident that the judge was going to find him not guilty of murder. Today he sat there a lot more calmly.
It was an uneasy night in Chardon, Ohio. A news spread that T.J. Lane had escaped from prison. Lane was convicted of gunning down 3 Chardon High School students.
People here, just at the mention of the name T.J. Lane, kind of shudder over what he did. He's also notorious here because at his sentencing, he unbuttoned his shirt to show a T-shirt underneath with the word killer on it. He threw the middle finger at the families.
WOIO-TV's Paul Orlowski. Police captured Lane early this morning not far from the prison in Lima, Ohio. Investigators have evidence that may help them find out who shot a Malaysian airliner out of the sky over eastern Ukraine. Live to CBS News correspondent Barry Bagnatto.
25 pieces of metal have been recovered from baggage and bodies, according to Dutch prosecutors investigating the July 17th shootdown. They now want to establish whether the metal is the same type used in Russian-made missiles, a determination that could further focus blame on Moscow. One other potentially important piece of evidence, a telephone recording believed to be of pro-Russian separatists discussing the downing of the plane. 298 passengers and crew were killed. Frank?
Memphis and other cities and towns in that part of Tennessee and over the border in Mississippi will spend days cleaning up after a deluge. WREG-TV's Melissa Moon tells us as much as 9 inches of rain fell, overwhelming storm drains and inundating some homes.
A lot of people got trapped in their cars for a couple of hours. Some streets that we saw were actually turned into lakes.
President Obama wants Congress to spend $500 million arming Syrian rebel groups that are believed to be more moderate. CBS's Nancy Cordes tells us it appears he'll get it.
It does now appear that Congress will vote in some fashion next week on granting President Obama the authority to arm and train moderate Syrian rebels who could then go after ISIS on the ground.
Ian Paisley, the hardline Protestant leader who spent a lifetime opposing Northern Ireland's Catholics before agreeing to make peace, has died. Paisley was 88. Americans were buying cars in August, and that fueled a 0.6% gain in retail sales overall. S&P futures are down a point. This is CBS News.
There's a fire you get in your belly when you're working on your car. Nothing kills that feeling like a dead battery. Either way, the job's got to get done. Buy any new battery online at advanceautoparts.com and pick it up in store in just 30 minutes. Like a long-lasting Autocraft Gold battery, engineered with power frame technology. Job's done, and you can tackle your next big project. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back to the garage.
Visit advanceautoparts.com now to learn more. Hey, Bob, how's business? Is the new website helping?
Not good. I can't figure out how to get the website finished. How did you do it?
Easy. I called Web.com. They built my website for free. Then they promoted it on all the search engines.
Like Google, Yahoo, and Bing?
Exactly. And Web.com has helped grow my business so much, I had to bring on new staff.
Hey, if Web.com did it for you, they're perfect for me.
Call now, 1-800-535-8815. That's 1-800-535-8815. Again, 1-800-535-8815.
British authorities believe the fire that killed dozens of dogs and destroyed their shelter was set. CBS's Larry Miller has the story from London.
Local residents say they heard dogs yelping as the blaze tore through the Manchester Dogs home. Some ran to save those canines they could. The kennel's manager, Anna Stansted.
It's been horrific. Still in shock.
Manchester police official Neil Jones reports more than 60 dogs perished. Once the news broke, donations flooded in. More than $700,000 in the first 12 hours. A 15-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of arson. Larry Miller, CBS News, London.
A man who was convicted of killing a Connecticut woman and her 2 daughters is suing the state for not serving kosher food in prison. Stephen Hayes says he's an Orthodox Jew, and forcing him to follow a non-kosher diet amounts to cruel and unusual punishment. A spokeswoman for the state declined to comment on the lawsuit. Frank Sedapani, CBS News.
More than 700 Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers across this country, and she chooses mine.
I need tires, all season, and at a great price.
She wanted it all, but even she was surprised once I crunched the numbers. Soon her Taurus was ready to roll.
Say, you're good, Mr.
Murphy, ma'am, at your service, even on weekends.
With great prices on 13 name brand tires and no appointment necessary, Quick Lane is ready to serve. Visit quicklane.com.
This is Charles Osgood. What is customer service? Well, for some, it's a warm greeting or a smile or perhaps even knowing your name. But for the independent agents representing auto owners insurance, it's about more than that. It's getting to know you and your needs so that you can get the proper coverage. Really, it's better than customer service. It's customer care. Go to AutoOwners.com to locate an independent agent near you. Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people.
Newsradio 1070 WKOK presents On the Mark. It's a chance to voice your opinion on the events that affect life in the Susquehanna Valley. Call 1-800-795-9565 or email onthemark@wkok.com. Now, here are your hosts for On the Mark, Than Mitchell and Ben Reichley.
And good morning, everybody. This is On the Mark, as you know, brought to you by the fine folks at the Sunbury Motor Company. And as far as I can tell, I went out and looked, and there's not a single dent on that Lincoln sitting out there, Kevin, and we're proud of you.
I've been extra careful. Listen, I've been a better driver over the last couple of weeks than in my entire life.
We know why, because that car drives for you.
MKZ?
No, this is the MKS.
Okay,
MKS.
And it will be back at Sunbury Motors this weekend in the North 4th Street Plaza. Just talk to Skip and the boys at the Lincoln dealership, find out more about the adaptive cruise control and how you can basically set the cruise and literally forget it, because it will gap the car in front of you and just back right down if that car in front of you backs right down. I'm a big fan of cruise control, so I use it quite a bit, and I was using it this week on the way in on Route 11, and I don't know that from basically the Montour County line to
that's hard cruise control territory.
Northumberland, I didn't touch the brake or accelerator
because it adjusts for you.
Because it adjusted for me.
Wow.
Well, you were sitting in the back seat, right?
No, I did have my hands on the steering wheel.
Well, I pulled in this morning. I thought Roger was here early. Since the Lincoln was sitting there.
I did have my hands on the steering wheel, though. So it'll be back. Test drive it this weekend. Find out more about the adaptive cruise control and the luxury that Lincoln offers, as well as performance. Because I'll tell you one thing. If you need to pull out quickly, because there's a little bit of a gap and you're trying to get crossed on 11 and 15, there's a little punch there that you can do it. All-wheel drive as well.
I'd say little punch. It's understatement. It's got great punch.
And Kevin, all these vehicles that you're being able to test drive for the Sunbury Motor Company, you are autographing. There's an autograph inside the glove box, right? You autograph it, you put your name, and you put the date, correct?
I made the offer, and they said, well, we're trying to sell the vehicle.
Yeah, I was going to say, in spite of
probably not.
In spite of it.
Well, come on. Go down to Sunbury Motors, ask for the Kevin Hurst signature line of vehicles, be it the Hyundai, be it the Kia, be it the Lincoln, be it the Ford F-150, which, Kevin had a shot of testosterone.
I know.
When he was driving
I know.
that.
He kept growling at me.
As Steve Jones says, he says, "Who is the man on this show now?" That week he was driving that 150. But go ask for the Kevin Hurst Signature Series vehicles. Ask for the Kevin Hurst discount, warranty items. Get the Kevin Hurst package, and you'll be good to go.
Okay. Now, that is for the Sunbury Motor Company, our fine sponsor of this show. And don't forget Lenape Solar.
Yeah, well, Kevin's wearing one of those new Lenape Solar panel shirts on the back.
Yes, he is. And
so I can recharge myself.
Forehead keeps lighting up. The Lenape Solar, you will not only boost the value of your home, but see a significant return on your investment. Cindy, hang on just a moment, because we are going to bring you the headlines. Mount Carmel Township, 4 police officers have been suspended in Mount Carmel Township for an incident on Labor Day. The news item reports Patrolman Patrick McAndrew, Michael Pitcavage, and David Stamets were suspended last week. Patrolman Matthew Filarski will be suspended once his medical leave is up. The 4 officers were off duty on September 1st when they were allegedly chased by Coltmont Patrolman David Tomtashin. The firework was allegedly tossed. A firework was allegedly tossed at Tomashin's cruiser as a joke, prompting the chase. State police are investigating. Stamets is accused of driving an unlicensed, unregistered vehicle with his fellow officers as passengers. Oh, my goodness. This chase went through Marion Heights and Mount Carmel.
Is this a fraternity prank?
It sounds to, I don't know, it might be from Onion News. One of the this is a serious story. One of the teenagers accused in the I-80 rock-throwing incident is now in a juvenile detention facility. 17-year-old Dylan Lahr had an emergency bail revocation hearing in Union County Court Thursday following a criminal incident at Milton High School. Milton Borough Police have not expanded on the nature of the incident. In court, Union Snyder County Judge Michael Shawley sent Lahr to the Center County Juvenile Detention Facility. That location may change due to overcrowding at that facility. Lahr is one of 4 teenagers charged in Union County rock-throwing incident which critically injured 52-year-old Sharon Budd of Ohio.
And then you hope there is some positives that are going to come out of that story for all involved.
Yeah, a whole lot of lives have
the medically
been
side,
changed.
the young youth who
did a stupid.
You hope in the future that there's positives that come out of this, and It's just it's a tragedy on all sides, and it doesn't sound, unfortunately, like it's getting better.
Back to the story on Penn State. A Pennsylvania judge yesterday removed 3 Penn State trustees, as well as some university faculty and former Nittany Lions players, from a lawsuit by Joe Paterno's estate against the school and the NCAA. But the ruling also means the judge found the Paternos have standing to challenge sanctions the NCAA imposed on the university for Jerry Sandusky's child sex scandal.
Kevin, that sounds like you need some interpretation by Buhner for that story.
There's a lot more to that, I'm afraid, than what we're hearing about.
That's Nancy
That'll
Grace, Nancy Grace legalese type of story.
Did you notice that I cut down on the shine in here by putting a hat on my head?
Well, I thought you only have half the moonshine that you had during the first half hour.
No, you got half my shine now. Okay, Cindy, you're back. I'm sorry we ran short of time so quickly. It rather surprised me.
That's okay. You're running a business there. You need to do what you need to do.
Yeah, or Kevin comes over and gets really, really nasty.
And Cindy, I'd like to say a term that you used earlier, which is very interesting because it can really be put to a lot of different stories, too many stories nowadays, the excessive exaggeration, which is an interesting term. No, but it's an interesting term because if you look at media and the way stories are reported, that excessive exaggeration seems to unfortunately lead, and at times it leads people down the wrong side of the story.
Over and over again. I don't know why the press has decided that they're the judge and jury of these situations anymore. It's a little scary.
Well, because now you've replaced newspapers with the National Enquirer mentality. You've created TV news journalists on both sides, paper and TV journalists, with the TMZ side of it, and now that's where the excessive exaggeration comes into play. And now you have something called the internet, which the blogs go out, and it's a wildfire.
And I say, Cindy, if that's where you get your news, you ought to find it someplace else, because unless it's sourced news, it's not news, it's just gossip. But what more did you want to say, Cindy?
Well, here's where I get my facts. I read the law. You know, these laws are all put online. You can read them. I read the law about child abuse reporting, and it said if you are a mandated reporter, and they list them, and as a nurse, I am a mandated reporter, you must call Childline and file a paper form that sends a report to the local county children and youth agency, local county child abuse investigation people, okay? With the exception of one profession who's considered a mandated reporter but does not take that action. And who is that? Educators. Educators were exempted from that, and there is actually, or was, a sentence in the law that said they report this to their superior. So let's look at what Coach Paterno did. Coach Paterno was informed, and the very next business day, he reported this to his superior. Did he follow state law? Yes, he did. Now, I have as a mandated reporter reported many cases, I'm sorry to say, of suspected or what was pretty clearly child abuse. Did I ever step over that process to call the police? No. Did I ever investigate what were the outcomes of the reports that I made? No. In fact, we were strongly advised to be silent on the matter to safeguard the child so that our behavior as professionals would not interfere with the investigation or the outcome of the situation in terms of endangering the child. And I, as a healthcare professional, was scrupulous in that behavior. So that's exactly what, in my opinion, happened here. But outside people with no or limited information attacked the one person who did the right thing, who followed the law, who followed institution policy, and that's who they crucified. And I just find that we as a people have got to stop being suckered into this jump on the bandwagon, lose our minds behavior because the next person they're going to hang in the public square is you.
Okay, Cindy, thank you very much. A very interesting insight. Take it from there, Ben.
Well, we talked earlier, procedures and policies, and if you've followed the policy, and but again, though, I believe the easiest target was the Penn State football team because that's far more visible. Second was the Penn State institution, and then all of a sudden the information started to come out, and I can't think of the young lady who, with the Patriot, who did a lot of the reporting.
Sarah
Gannon. Gannon, who broke a lot of the stories. But then you start to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and the mother up in Clinton County is the one who really got this opened and made it happen, and got Sandusky convicted because it was her perseverance that brought justice to, when you say justice, unfortunately there's these victims, but put Sandusky in prison, and Sandusky, if he ever he should never see the light of day from being free.
I would say not.
But again, the football, the institution side of it, that's still legally in court, and the NCAA, a very confusing body with just all over the place. If you look at the history of the NCAA and the rulings, and times do change, though. In fairness to some of these folks, times do change. What your policies were in 1980, 1990, 2000, probably shouldn't, maybe, hopefully you adjusted those to today's standards, but the fundamentals of those policies should be similar.
We have open lines, 1-800-795-9565. And, of course, we have the Lenape Solar in-basket in our email department. It comes right into the old email here at WKOK. No, it's not. It's on the mark at WKOK.com. I was going to do it backward for you. Make sure you turn on the webcam on your computer. I tried to cut down on the glare. It seems to work. Should I wear the hat backwards, Kevin, do you think?
No.
No, okay. You shouldn't wear the hat backwards. Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a quick break right now with this program of On the Mark, open right up until 10 o'clock this morning. Ben Reichley across the table from me, businessman. Through the window from me, superlatives were all gone. It's just plain old Kevin Herr.
That's all right.
Does a lot of good stuff. But let's take a quick break and come back. I'd like to talk a little bit about the state governor's race because Ben is a very strong Republican supporter, and it does look like Tom Corbett's in some trouble. So let's come back right after this message.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Come on home to convenience. Come on over with style.
Come on home to Kohl's Hardware for GE LED energy-saving light bulbs. Their long-lasting performance and outstanding energy efficiency will illuminate your home with soft, warm, dimmable light.
GE LED bulbs are extremely durable and low maintenance. GE LED bulbs can last up to 5 times longer than compact fluorescent bulbs, making them perfect for hard-to-reach light fixtures.
If you want to save money on your monthly energy bills, cut down your lighting energy consumption by up to 80%, and not have to think about replacing a light bulb in your home for years, years to come, visit the knowledgeable professionals at Kohl's Hardware and let them shed some light on the new GE LED energy-efficient light bulbs.
Save money and energy with GE LED bulbs at Kohl's Hardware. Sign up for exclusive online offers year-round. We're right around the corner, right here in your hometown. Come on home to Kohl's for GE LED energy-saving light bulbs.
Come on home to Kohl's.
Where do you find safe and effective products to clean up the toughest messes around your home? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green brand products, and I invite you to try a Simple Green solution for your cleaning needs.
Simple Green.
I'm so sure you'll be happy with the ability and safety of my products that I guarantee your satisfaction, or I'll refund your money. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
Simple Green. Simple Green.
Cloud may be just another overused buzzword, but the cloud is an effective computing environment that can save your business time and money. Barracuda Networks is no stranger to the cloud. In fact, all of our security and storage solutions connect to the cloud for continuous updates and off-site redundancy. Barracuda's cloud also plays host to our email security, web security, file sharing, and e-signing services. We even offer solutions on Amazon's AWS and Microsoft's Azure public cloud platforms. To try any of our cloud-connected solutions free, visit barracuda.com/cloud.
Hello, this is Justin Charles from Lenape Solar. Did you know that through energy savings of almost $5 million per year, our customers are saving the environment the equivalent of over 98 million miles of driving and eliminating the annual carbon dioxide emissions of over 5,600 homes each year? Do you want to know how to be a part of these amazing numbers? Call us at 286-1496 or visit us online at Facebook or lenapesolar.com today and find out more about our exclusive Buy American partners for solar energy and energy-efficient lighting upgrades.
Life is a series of moves, whether it's that first starter home, needing more space as your family grows, or downsizing. Hi, this is Larry Johnson from the Bowen Agency Realtors. Our agents understand this and will be there for you and your family for every move. We'll provide genuine, neighborly support with more personal touch and attention to detail every step of the way. Life is a series of moves, and for those moments in life that matter, see us at the Bowen Agency in 3 convenient locations, Selinsgrove, Lewisburg, and Sunbury. And remember, coming or going, trust the talent at Bowen. Online at bowenagency.com.
We are back. I don't know what I know what happened. Kevin was out fixing his car. No, he wasn't.
Kevin was out with tears coming out of his eyes.
Then he has to give it back.
To his car. And that's great, though, that you have the option to sit in the front seat or sit in the back seat and that car drive you around.
I honestly would not want to sit in the back seat. You know, that's one of the things about the self-driving cars, which I'm sure within 5 years we will see them on the highway. And that's okay, but I want to be near something like a brake and a steering wheel.
Okay, so let's say 5 years from now there's self-driving cars and you're driving down 15
when you're
Lewisburg.
riding down.
No, you are, though.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden a car comes by and I'm sitting in the back waving to you and you're looking at this car driving itself and your feelings will be, will you have that Jetson moment?
Yes, yes. Okay, let's go to Sammy. Hi, Sammy. How are you this morning?
I'm wonderful.
Good. What's
Listen,
up?
I want to sing to you the Wolf song.
The Wolf song. What is that?
You know, he's running for governor.
Yes, he is.
So let me sing it to you quickly here.
How long is it?
I'm
Okay.
having a contest. I can get the best interpretation of a wolf is going to win a prize.
Okay, Sammy. Thank you very much. That's really good. Can you howl like a wolf?
I know. I thought he was going to sing some Warren Zevon, Little Werewolves of London.
That's a good thought too. Actually,
maybe even Hungry Like a Wolf.
He brought up a who was that? That was
Duran.
Duran. Yeah, one of my favorite.
Let's go with let's say Warren Zevon might trump Duran. Except in a certain age group.
Well, I was going to say certain age group. I happen to like Warren Zevon, but Let's go to exactly what Sammy was talking about, the contest for governor, which is very interesting. If I understand correctly, and I don't remember how far back it was, every governor of Pennsylvania has been re-elected on the second time. We may have it happen again with Tom Corbett, right? But right now,
it's an uphill battle.
59% to. Well, I don't know.
Well, it's anywhere
it's
between
like a 25
15 to 22%, and it depends on the scenario. But what's been interesting about this is Corbett will make his campaign appearances. Wolf, I guess, is making campaign appearances. But what people aren't, it's more of an ABC type election. Anybody but Corbett. And so when talking to some Democrats, what they know about Wolf, or think they know about Wolf, or try to say about Wolf, is he's almost an enigma. And I believe the Daily Item even had a editorial about it a couple weeks ago. And I think the parts of it was the devil you know to the devil you don't know. And right now there's not a whole lot known about Tom Wolf, and he is certainly playing the cards of prevent the loss of the governorship. And he doesn't have to be proactive because he's riding on Corbett's negatives. And if that's going to get him in office, you can get elected. And if you have to govern, then that's a different thing. And that's what even some Democrats who I've talked to said they have some concerns of what he actually will stand for or will do. And he doesn't have to bring that out to get elected because he has such a lead in the polls. But we'll see what happens in the month of October.
Well, he did something that I thought was really smart, and that was, I don't know, 6 months ago, ran a very, very strong campaign that he was running for governor. That's that name recognition.
Well, January, February,
was that what it was? About a year ago then?
Well, that's what earlier this year, and that's what got him the primary race, because he basically skunked all the other candidates. But again, on the how will you govern when elected? We saw this on the presidential side, the hope and change, and President Obama's campaign was based on a lot of things. 6 years later, now the hope and change. Governor Corbett, his record, he said what he was going to do, went down and did some of it. He suffers through more public relations and some policy parts that just didn't work out. But his record as governor is out there. Tom Wolf, candidate Wolf, we'll see in the debates. I believe there'll be 3 debates. But right now, Wolf's campaign's playing it smart by being limited exposure and riding the wave of the anti-Corbett vote.
I think that Wolf is oftentimes coming back to answer Corbett's charges, therefore kind of putting out the fires. Tony is back on the line. Hi, Tony.
Dan, I'm going to tell you why Corbett's going to win.
Okay. Why?
Bob Casey, his Senate term expires before the next governor's race. Bob Casey wants to be governor. If Wolf wins, then Bob Casey isn't being governor for at least 8 years. That's not
no.
happen.
Well, I will say this, though. If Wolf does win this, I believe, as Stan said, the stats aren't. But you could have a one-term Republican and a one-term Democrat back-to-back.
You could have that. But
we haven't had a history of one
Bob
term.
Casey wants to be the next governor.
I've not heard that, and I've talked to some people.
Believe me, I've
talked to people.
And I know what's
going
to happen in Scranton.
Well, no, I don't
Rendell
see it.
is not friends with
Casey.
Fisher. Rendell is talking about being the next senator. He is not going to be the next senator without the support of Bob Casey.
I will say this, Tony, the people I've talked to, the people I know, I don't see Bob Casey putting the effort. He can be senator for life. I don't see Bob Casey putting the effort into wanting to be governor. And
he wants to be governor.
And I also don't see Ed Rendell having the initiative to be a U.S. senator. I can see him possibly going back and running for mayor of Philadelphia because he can do that like the back of his hand. But again, Bob Casey's in a pretty cushy position right now to be a U.S. senator from Pennsylvania till he doesn't want to be. Being
Bob
governor,
Casey wants
you
to
have
be
to
governor.
Haven't heard it. If he does,
He wanted to be governor last time. Remember,
he didn't get in it. He didn't get in it last time.
No, he didn't. Why didn't he?
Because he has a U.S. Senate job that he can get elected for life.
No. I mean, when he ran for governor in a primary, he was the candidate of choice, if you remember.
Ben says he didn't run.
No, when he ran against Rendell in the primary and got beat.
Rendell, but he was up 24 points on Rendell, and Rendell beat him.
Okay, so you really think that
that's Bob? Oh, I know Bob Casey wants to be governor.
Okay, Tony,
we'll see.
One of the things I think about Tony is he certainly knows a lot of stuff.
Oh,
that we aren't sure of.
In the past he did, but once he became U.S. Senator, he can be senator for life, like I said. And Ed Rendell now is somewhat bored politically. The MSNBC gig isn't quite working out as much as he'd like, and he can go back and be potentially be mayor of Philadelphia and run that like the back of his hand. And remember, and Ed Rendell isn't 50 years old anymore.
No, he isn't. Many of us aren't. But back to the Corbett situation. I'm trying to think of the accomplishments of Corbett, and I'm sure you can help me with that. He did not get the lottery outsourced to England.
Well, you want to talk about accomplishments, or you want to talk about what didn't?
Well, I'm talking about what didn't. I will list what didn't happen. The state liquor stores, the gambling. I suspect
the gambling,
the lottery being outsourced to a private group. Education, no matter what the explanation is, has really upset people because our taxes have raised.
But public education funding hasn't decreased. And if you look at it, but again, people will want to, if the perception is it's been decreased, then you have to look at the numbers.
How about 29,000 teachers being laid off, larger classrooms, and shorter days, and people having to sell their schools?
Those decisions are made on a local level to manage your schools. When the stimulus came through from the federal government, those school districts could apply that money the way they chose. There was some stipulations. But so if you look at that, now liquor store, lottery, turnpike, transportation bill being passed probably a year too late. You can look at that. You look at the unemployment rate. You look at the basic economy in Pennsylvania, which fluctuates. And when you say job creation, well, you go back to job creation, go back 20, 30 years. Job creation in Pennsylvania fluctuates probably in the 40s, maybe it was in the 30s. I think one time we have an article here by the Associated Press, Mark Levy, on that. But you look at Corbett's going to have to show what this is, and also during the debates, we'll see what Wolf comes with. Wolf can play prevent defense and probably run the clock out to the election and win this election. But the part about it is, when the people are saying, what are you going to get? And I think the Daily Item had a very good editorial on the devil you know, not to say, but the person you know and the person you don't know. And
I like your Freudian slip.
Well, but no, that was in the Daily Item. That was their Freudian slip, and it's unfair to both candidates to say the devil you know, the devil you don't know. But we'll see what happens with the information.
Okay, let's go on the phone, and we have Dave from Montoursville. Hi, Dave.
Hello.
How are you?
You need to check. You need to do some homework.
Okay.
Because the actual state funds are spending more money now for education than they have ever spent.
Yeah.
What got cut was federal dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We all know that. We all know that, sir.
But the thing of it is, Governor Corbett has raised the state's share of spending for schools, for education.
Have you noticed that your local school taxes have been going up?
That's not the governor. I mean, that's the way your schools
are
managed.
No, it's what the schools have to do to maintain an education for the children.
Unfunded mandates are one thing, but it's how the schools are run.
That's the thing, though. The thing of it is, the state money has increased. And so to blame it on Corbett that he's cut education funding, that isn't true. It's the federal that cut it.
And I know Corbett has raised it up, but he hasn't raised it up $1 billion, which was lost, and we're still paying these huge taxes. Corbett has raised taxes all over the place. It's just not state taxes.
But now, it's almost like as if somebody that's working a full-time job, and they have a part-time job, and the part-time job ends, which the part-time job will be the money from the federal government. The full-time job is the money from the state government. And all of a sudden, the federal government, you don't have that part-time job. Now you're blaming the state because your income got lower.
Well,
that's not right.
But it's that, Dave. It's how you applied as a school district, how you applied those funds from the federal government. If you went, and it's also too, and when they do the Police Act, when the federal government comes in and says, okay, city of Columbus, Ohio, or let's say Pennsylvania, city of Harrisburg, we're going to supply you a 3-year program that you're able to hire 10 new police officers. Okay, this school district, we're going to give you money and you can choose to spend it. And they choose to hire 3 new teachers. Well, for the police officers, for that city and for that school district, when that federal money is out in 3 years, now you still have those folks hired. How are you going to fund that? So it's almost, you have to beware the federal dollars and what the stipulations are, but how do you spend it? Now, if school districts paid down their debt, added to their pension, they're better off, and it's how some of these school districts are managed, and some of them aren't managed as efficiently as they should be.
Well, and that's the thing, that when you look at the money that's contributed to political campaigns, 2 of the top 4 or 5 are education unions, that they donate so much money to the government, the politicians' campaigns, that that it's no wonder that they have all this.
Well, it's primary Democratic campaigns, but that unions, businesses.
Not Democratic, all campaigns.
Well, they do all campaigns, but it's heavily Democratic on the teachers' union side. But but that's their prerogative to do that.
Hey, Dave, we're lining up people here. Thank you very much for the.
All righty, guys. Have fun.
Okay, have a good day. And Bob from Elysburg. Hi, Bob.
Hey, Stan. How are you?
Okay, what's up?
I was just wondering, this whole conversation is always intriguing. I love politics. Both you guys know that. How are you, Ben?
Good, Bob.
Question. Christie and Corbett were out on the campaign trail a few months ago, and not long after them being out raising money, a deal was struck. And I'm not sure exactly if this ever went through or where it stands, but the Philadelphia 76ers were supposedly to move to Camden, where an $85 million facility was going to be built in New Jersey. All of the front offices were moving from Philadelphia to Camden, and that $176 million of tax money would be lost to Pennsylvania over the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Do you guys know, did that deal actually take place?
Bob, I do not know. I will say, unfortunately, putting anything in Camden is a risk. It's unfortunate that the poor people of Camden, but they've been mismanaged for decades. But I have not heard. The deals with Philadelphia, when Rendell made the Comcast deal to keep Comcast in Philadelphia, that seemed to be, the pretty sort of big political deal, and that was a number of years ago. But, I have not heard anything about the 76ers. Now, I will say this. The 76ers should go recruit some of the basketball players from Camden High, and maybe they'll be a little bit better. But no, that would be one of those situations where, what would be the positives of them moving? It'd be interesting to see what the details would be.
Yeah, and it looked to me like it was just some political pork that was going to go back and forth between maybe an up-and-coming presidential candidate and maybe a vice presidential candidate.
Well, but remember...
Okay, that's all I had to say.
Okay, thanks you very much. Let's go to Roberta, then we're going to go to a break. Hi, Roberta. How are you this morning?
Good, thanks. Hey, about that sports guy that they threw him out of the NFL or whatever, and he's not allowed on the team anymore.
Ray Rice.
What do you think about that deal?
I think he should be in jail, but that's
I
me.
do too. Yeah, but that ain't the only thing. Then his wife, his girlfriend married him. What kind of what is that set up? You know, they have a child together, but that don't mean you have to marry the person. If he could have killed her.
Yeah. Yes, he could well have killed her.
Yeah, and somebody was upholding the truth about that deal. They said 5 months, but then they said it was given to whoever was supposed to get it how many months ago, but nothing was ever done about it. He got 2-game suspension. What's that, a kick in the butt?
Well, I'll tell you what, he got a lot more than 2-game suspension by this time.
Yeah, but he didn't before.
Talk about people who should be investigated. I think the head of, is it Goodell, head of that NFL? I think he sat on a tape and didn't let it out. But that's what I think. That doesn't mean that's the case. I just think
for that organization that ended up getting it, how much money did it cost them? I'm sure they had to buy it.
Well, it's the National Enquirer's the newspaper version, and TMZ's the TV version.
How much did they pay for the tapes? You know?
Who knows?
No, and
I'm sure they paid a heck of a lot of money.
But the part about it is, let's backtrack a little bit. Before it gets to the NFL, before it gets to the Baltimore Ravens, remember Ray Rice does not work for the NFL. He works for the Baltimore Ravens.
But it's the NFL one that
hold it, Roberta.
I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, but hold it. Before that, what happened with the DA and the judge?
Yeah.
And the DA supposedly sold it. So what? If people want to jump to the NFL, step back a little bit and jump down to the county of Atlantic County and the DA and the judge who was involved in this directly. And right now, the DA and the judge are involved with a young lady, single mother of 2, who accidentally carried a concealed weapon into New Jersey, and she's getting literally crucified by the same county, the same DA, and she accidentally brought a gun in.
But here's the problem.
Yeah, but
though,
was
Ben.
it accidental or was it? You know what I mean?
Yes,
it
was accidental. She was caught speeding.
Or people that carry guns should be more responsible.
But here's the problem. He pleaded not guilty. Went into a program. Ray Rice went into a program voluntarily. Now, by doing that, he has it cleared off of his record. The problem is this, and this is one of the things we talked about the last couple of days on the Steve Jones Show with Bob Buhner.
I've been listening to that.
The biggest problem is they could not talk Janae Rice into pressing charges or at least testifying. So it's much more difficult to get a conviction if the person that was assaulted is not testifying.
Why? Yeah. You show that video.
Well, I'm just telling you. Listen, I'm telling you from a guy who prosecuted cases in his opinion.
But
That's
my
what I'm
question
saying.
is New Jersey. If you're the DA and you had that video, you had the complete video, and you tell me you can't get a conviction bring back Raymond Burr and wheel him into the courthouse, and he'll get you a conviction, and he's coming out of the coffin.
Raymond Burr didn't have to follow laws. The real district attorney does.
But no, you tell me he can't get a conviction with that video evidence? Without her testimony?
But I'm saying, who was sitting on the evidence? Somebody was withholding evidence there, I would say.
The DA had the videos of the whole thing, correct?
I guess, but what happened, this is how many months ago this happened.
Well, where was the DA and the judge?
Now it's taken awful long for it to come out into the light.
Okay, Roberta, thank you very much. I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, now on that doctor's show, did any of your listeners watch that yesterday that was on about that overpass?
No, I missed that, doggone it.
Well, that was it was very good. I was kind of disappointed they didn't show her, but they had her husband and family on, and I'll tell you what, that is a terrible, terrible thing. Now, I see they picked up the one boy, something about his bail or whatever, but they should be in jail. They shouldn't even be out in the street. I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks, Roberta.
You're welcome.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break right now. You're listening to On the Mark this morning. If you happen to be on the webcam, you're watching On the Mark on WKOK. This is brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company. Our in-basket, email in-basket, brought to you by Lenape Solar, and we have an open line, 1-800-795-9565.
With winter weather just around the corner, contact a qualified service technician to ensure that your propane system is operating safely. Make sure that everyone in your family knows what propane smells like and what to do in the event of a gas leak, including knowing where the gas supply valve is and when and how to safely close it. Call us today to learn more.
Brought to you by the Pennsylvania Propane Gas Association and your local propane service providers. Go Hunt PA to enjoy the outdoors, to be with family and friends, or to put food on the table. Whatever the reason, the Pennsylvania Game Commission invites you to Go Hunt PA. Log on to gohuntpa.org to find information on wildlife, hunting, licensing, and much more. While you're there, subscribe to their email service to get all the latest news, like reminding hunters that waterfowl and dove seasons are open in September. Consult the Migratory Game Bird brochure at gohuntpa.org for details. Go Hunt PA. Visit gohuntpa.org.
Here's a bright idea. Why not use light to carry billions of bits of data per second, making network connections hundreds of times faster and much more reliable? That's just what Penn Teledata's fiber optic network does. And we've invested in over 9,000 miles throughout our communities, connecting schools, banks, healthcare networks, and even wireless towers that enable your smartphone to be, well, smart. Know what else is smart? Connecting your business to our fiber network. See the light with Penn Teledata, your recommended source of fiber.
Would you trust a blocked artery to a plumber? Then why trust the health of your network to outdated technology? Connect at the speed of light with Penteledata's state-of-the-art true fiber optic network, offering the smartest, most reliable data connections to keep operations running stronger than ever before. That's why more doctors and business professionals trust their company to Penteledata. When choosing a provider, get a second opinion. You'll be glad you did. Penteledata, your recommended source of fiber.
Here's Tom Corbett.
Tom Wolf and I have more in common than first names. He drives a Jeep in his TV ads. I drove one in the National Guard. But we do have our differences. Tom Wolf's calling for a massive middle-class tax increase. He thinks Harrisburg knows how to spend your money better than you do. He's wrong. I brought fiscal sanity to Harrisburg, resulting in 4 straight years without increasing the state income tax. Do we really want to go back to the way it was? I know you work hard for your money. It should go to you, not Harrisburg.
While Tom Wolf's been busy trying to create new taxes, Tom Corbett's been busy creating good-paying Pennsylvania jobs. The day Tom Corbett became governor, Pennsylvania's unemployment rate was a staggering 8.1%. But by cutting taxes, Tom Corbett restarted our state's economy, and unemployment today is a low 5.7%, much lower than the national rate. Tom Corbett, he promised to build a stronger Pennsylvania, and that's exactly what he's doing. Paid for by Tom Corbett for governor.
Precious moments. Quiet moments. New beginnings. Your home, your memories, thanks to Fogarty Homes. Fogarty makes home building faster, better, and more affordable with Fogarty's turnkey building program. You'll save on stress, time, and money. Look to Fogarty Homes, whether it's your first, second, third, or last home. Great financing with preferred lenders is available. Call 570-523-3203 or take a tour at FogartyHomes.com. Building dreams since 1968 on Route 15, just south of Lewisburg.
Penn State Rutgers coming up tomorrow. John Bacon will join us on the show to talk about the reduction in sanctions for Penn State. 3 to 5 News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Yeah.
Big collars, high shoes.
Big collars and high shoes. Okay, we are back. We are on the mark. This is an open day. We've been talking about the possibility of a one-term governor in Pennsylvania when for the past, 700 years or something, every governor has had 2 terms. What is the last since 1950 or something like that?
And times have changed, though. I would say, again, this is more of an ABC. Even talking to the Republicans, anybody but Corbett type deal, and then you ask why, and okay. Well, if you just don't, it gets to the point where, but if you just don't like the guy, fine. But perception and reality become one and the same. But one of the things I would look at, this might be somewhat of like the presidential race in 12, where President Obama wins by 3 million votes, 3 million plus or minus 3 million. Romney gets 3 million less than McCain got in 08. So you might have a situation here where Republicans, quote unquote, by not voting, crossing lines, might elect a Democrat, and we'll see, what will happen. So there's a lot of workings in between, but it's for the atmosphere that's going on in the country, and for the Republican Republican governor to be in the situation he is in Pennsylvania, it shows some very interesting, quote unquote, theoretical political going-ons, and
does that show a real weakness in Corbett? In that
it doesn't show strength.
No, not at all.
Of course, but it also then, how do you calculate the weakness? Is the weakness, one thing too, I would say there's the governor, but there's also a Republican Senate and a Republican House that needs to look at each other in the mirror, because the House and the Senate has not been stellar here, and it's very frustrating when you're thinking, okay, this should be a climate that should be very positive in the economic growth of what the Republicans should want to do, but you have the Senate that's been quasi sort of up in the air with their leadership, and the House with the redistricting, the federal redistricting was abysmal for what they did. So Smith and the people in the House sort of, I would say this should be a great opportunity for the Democrats to try to take control of all three. But then you don't see the strength in the Democratic side either.
Let's clean house, but I think
I would. You know what? I would say that you pick 5 incumbents in the Senate on the Democratic side and Republican side, and you can keep them. The rest go. You pick 15 Democrat incumbents in the House, 15 in the Republican side, and the rest go. And let's do that on the federal side too, and send a message that, folks, let's understand that you're there for the people.
Either
you're not there for
govern
yourself.
or get out.
Yeah,
Either govern or get out.
Yeah, lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Well, let me say that with Corbett, I was very skeptical of outsourcing our gambling to the British, I believe it was.
Well, it was a British company, but it could have been anyone. But
I was skeptical about that.
Well, I think those could be very positive if they fit a business model that's good for the state.
Gentlemen, I have to cut the conversation off there because we have another break to take, so we'll be back in just a moment.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, got to go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Where do you find safe and effective products to clean up the toughest messes around your home? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green brand products, and I invite you to try a Simple Green solution for your cleaning needs. Simple Green! I'm so sure you'll be happy with the ability and safety of my products that I guarantee your satisfaction, or I'll refund your money. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
Simple Green, Simple Green.
Cloud may be just another overused buzzword, but the cloud is an effective computing environment that can save your business time and money. Barracuda Networks is no stranger to the cloud. In fact, all of our security and storage solutions connect to the cloud for continuous updates and off-site redundancy. Barracuda's cloud also plays host to our email security, web security, file sharing, and e-signing services. We even offer solutions on Amazon's AWS and Microsoft's Azure public cloud platforms. To try any of our cloud-connected solutions free, visit barracuda.com/cloud.
Shade Mountain Winery invites you to come along for fun. This Sunday, the 14th, from 1 till 4, Johanna and Anthony and Jack Pyers will be performing on the deck, inside if it rains, along Route 104 between Middleburg and Penns Creek. Bring a picnic basket and enjoy the beauty of Central PA's countryside. Find out more at ShadeMountainWinery.com. Shade Mountain Winery is also in Millheim and the old train station in Riverside. Shade Mountain Winery says life is short, drink wine.
Since 1873, it's been the destination for family fun, and it continues this year. It's the Gratz Fair, and from September 14th through the 20th, it'll be the place to go for harness horse racing, the Red Eye Rodeo, entertainment from Marty Haggard and the Kramer Brothers Band, Bill Haley Jr. and the Comets, the always popular Demo Derby, the high school cavalcade of bands, and midway shows. Then there's rides, the fair foods, all for just an $8 admission for those 2 and up, $4 for seniors 60 and up, and $4 for active duty service personnel. Learn more about the Gratz Fair at gratzfair.net.
Smart Drive tips for smart drivers. Hi, I'm Riley from Selinsgrove. This year, I will choose to start off the school year right. I choose to practice good driving habits, to not drive distracted, to remain drug and alcohol free, to always wear my seatbelt, and to never put myself or my passengers in danger. I choose to drive smart and not break my mama's heart. This message brought to you by the stations of Sunbury Broadcasting Corporation, including Newsradio 1070 WKOK, and Selinsgrove Ford, proud supporters of Susquehanna Smart Drive.
Okay, we are back. Kevin Herr on the other side of the wall over there, helping us through today and all through this week. I know Joe McGranahan is darn good at operating this stuff. I come in and operate it once every several weeks. Sometimes I can do it. Sometimes I just feel like Kevin is supporting me all the way through, and I appreciate that, Kevin.
Quick question, and I know we don't have enough time, but your thoughts on the presidential speech, which I will say I listened to on the radio and then saw bits and pieces. So when you listen to it, it's a little different than when you're watching and listening.
I did watch it, and interestingly, I went to 2 networks afterward. Fox News thought it was very weak, and some of the commentators on MSNBC thought it was rather weak. I myself thought he did a good job. You see,
he sounded presidential. While I say I'm listening while I'm maneuvering in traffic around all places, D.C.
Oh boy,
the acoustics were awful. I don't know who picked the room. What room was he in? Do you remember?
I don't know, but it was absolutely symmetrical on both sides of him, which was really kind of disconcerting.
So it wasn't from the Oval Office, and the points I saw.
It was outside the Oval Office.
I don't know if it was in the West or I don't know the big room or whatever. I don't know what they call it. But the acoustics were awful.
The little visuals I saw, I mean, okay. I didn't really notice because I didn't hear they upgrade the acoustics when they replay the but as far as content and information, it should be a very interesting couple weeks in the White House.
Well, I think that one of the things that I like about President Obama is what you don't like. I like the fact he's a thinker. And he says, wait a minute, we ought to get everybody together over here before we do something. And I know that George Bush said he was a decider. I'd rather have a thinker. And I'm kind of in favor of thinking about getting people killed before we do it. And I'm afraid that this is something that people are calling it weakness. I call it very good governance.
We'll
I'd like to see people save our lives,
well,
not
I wish,
take them.
if he was a thinker, then I wish he was thinking about the consequences when this all started and some of the words that he said by referring to this group as, the JV group. So, some of the things I guess maybe he should have thought about before he said, and that would have been great if he was thinking that way.
You're right.
So we'll see.
I ask you.
But if he's a
President
thinker, we'll
Obama, a good president or a great president? We don't have time for the answer.
The jury's out.
We will see you next week on Monday. Ben and Mark will be here. Thank you very much for taking care of me today. And this is On the Arc on WKOK Sunbury.